Hey there, folks. Welcome to our run of Alas for the Awful Sea, inspired by G. Willow Wilson and Christian Ward's Invisible Kingdom. Before starting in on things, I wanted to do a round of introductions for folks watching. If you could give your name, your pronouns, and just a quick introduction to who you're playing. I'm Steven, he, him, and I'm GMing this run of Alas for the Awful Sea. I'm not playing a character, but that I'm just playing everyone else, I guess.
Hi, I'm Ben. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Panax, also he, him. He is a member of the Abri, a plant or plant-like species, and he is the ship's cook, and I think kind of general deckhand kind of person. He's useful.
Hey everyone, my name is Donna, my pronouns are he, him, and on this run I'm playing Maze, who uses she, her, or they, them pronouns. She's the ship's doctor. She is from a relatively obscure species called the Biezo, and yeah, I think she has been on board the longest, maybe the captain's confidant, as well as anyone else who will tell her anything. So yeah, we'll see.
Hi everyone, I'm Dana, pronounced she, her. I'm playing Zarza, also pronounced she, her. She is also from the Abri as Panax, and she is the Strider and the Kinsman. I think my character is like the one from the ship that helps find things and that knows where to go to find different things. She's also kind of a hunter or something like that. I'm still exploring what does it mean to be the Strider. That's mostly
it. And I'm Chet. I use he, him, and they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Blyss, or that's Mix Blyss to you. They are a Temurian, and they are the relatively recently installed bosun of the ship. And now perhaps the de facto one in charge on the ship, since the captain seems to be incapacitated in our recent endeavors. Blyss uses they, them pronouns. The Temurian species has several genders and several sexes. I don't know if we're going to end up exploring that in this game, but they are a their family is very religious, and they are very religious in their own way. We'll see what that means, I guess.
This game is hosted through The Gauntlet. The Gauntlet is an online gaming community mostly focusing on role-playing games of the Indian OSR varieties. Besides publishing a zine called The Codex, it also puts out several podcasts about role-playing games. And of course, it organizes a gaming calendar, which this and many other games are organized through every month. The calendar is open to non-members, so feel free to jump on over there through the link below if you are interested in playing with any of the folks here tonight, or any of the other people on the Gauntlet. All Gauntlet games make use of an open door policy. We are all here to have fun and tell a story together. If something happens in real life or you become uncomfortable at the table, feel free to step away as long as you need. No one will hold it against you, and you're free to return whenever you feel ready. If you're able to let the group know if and when you expect to return, that would be helpful for the rest of us in terms of framing scenes. But we understand that sometimes emergencies happen and it's not always possible. Besides the open door, we also make use of several other safety tools. I'm not going to go into really all that much detail about them because we've already gone over them in past videos. But we will be making use of the X card, which, if you ever need to, make an X sign, and we will remove that piece of fiction from the something from the fiction. We are also making use of script change, which is basically a set of tools that are to help us talk about the fiction as we're playing. And then we're also making use of lines and veils. And lines and veils are a living document that we put together. I actually hadn't checked in about this, so if people could take a quick look again at our lines and veils, just type OK in the chat if you are happy with where they're at. Feel free to make any changes now or later in the game. And yeah, I don't see anything, don't see any additions, so we'll leave things there. But yeah, that takes us through much of our opening spiel. But so where we kind of left off on things, our ship was caught in a kind of a cloud of space debris. It caused damage to the ship. There were fires on the command deck as well as in the cargo. And there was also a I have the name for it here, a relinquishment vessel that seemed to be in distress. Zarza made contact with it and tried to pilot things over there before the panel she was working at blew, and that had flung her back. So I think where I want to open things was that Blyss, you had definitely felt the lurch of the engines shutting down under you, and you had seen that you were still a bit of a distance. Like you were definitely close, but there's no way. But you're not like docked with this relinquishment vessel, and there's definitely like you are in a time crunch here. There is the fire, there is this other vessel that's in distress and needs help soon. What is Bliss's immediate thoughts here?
Well, my immediate thoughts are damn the other vessel. We need to make sure that we are still space worthy. So immediately I'm on the comms, checking in with the I hear the all right, he'll feel the shudder through the bulkheads and hear the boom 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 boom. Distinct sound of our engine shutting down. So immediately I'm on the comms with the engine room, checking the status report. What's wrong with the engines?
And yeah, let's see here. I think that this is definitely going to be Cora here. Cora was that crew member saved by Blyss and Maze in the backstory. And you hear the voice of there is, Mix Blyss, there. We tried pushing the engines, but it looks like the damage was worse than we thought. That last jostle, it looks like it pushed something awry. We're gonna need to go exterior to the ship, I think, to do any real repairs.
Blast it. And in this debris field, that's that's going to be quite an ordeal. And knowing that, do I know who, like, if it's going to be external, whoever's nearest the nearest airlock is probably going to need to be who heads out there. Has Zarza's been sort of like cross training in various things on the ship, right?
Yeah, I think Zarza could try to do it. I don't think that it's the ideal, but could manage. With
Nothing's ideal in this situation.
With Blyss talking me through it. So yeah, I think I do. Do you think like we need to do something in the spaceship, like maybe try to find a place with less debris or something like that in order to do that repair of, or is like I'm heading out right now?
Well, our engines are pretty kaputskis, so we're probably not going anywhere until we get things
Makes sense.
back to an even keel.
Makes sense.
That's a boat joke.
I think Zarza is like heading to the airlock to find a spacesuit.
Yeah, and I'm curious, just to kind of play around here, what makes like, because we know in I'm recalling back to Invisible Kingdom, they kind of had these like atmosphere flame headpieces. I'm wondering, like, is there anything weird or interesting about the spacesuits for your ship, or like that make them like unique and eye-catching?
I really enjoyed that sort of atmospheric helmet thing. So I'd be happy if we kept that aesthetic.
Cool. Sure. So yeah, I'm curious. Has Zarza, like, we talked about cross training, has Zarza done like actual like spacewalks before?
I think she's done it, but like under supervision of maybe another more experienced crew member. Like, I think this will be the first time doing it on her own.
Cool.
Zarza, you're not going to be on your own. I'm going to be talking you through it from in here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here, Blyss, but still pretty scary.
Just like your training. Just like it. Just a few more micrometeorites around.
Right.
Cool. And yeah, I think with what we're looking at here, that I guess with the way things are going, we could either make this like you are the like I'd maybe say acting under pressure, but you are also the strider, and you have that innate compass that this is to a certain degree a difficult journey, and innate compass might apply here if that's what you want to roll with instead.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so so why don't you read innate compass for us, and then give us this roll.
Yeah, it says in the compass, when you are looking for a specific location, tell the GM what place, roll plus beyond. And at 10 plus, you find it, you're there if you want to be. On a 7 to 9, you know the way. On a miss, the GMs makes things worse. I think the place I'm looking is the one I need to fix. That's...
Yeah. And I'm wondering, because this is with Beyond, what does it feel like or look like when you kind of draw on this innate compass?
I think like Zarza is relying on mostly on Blyss guide, but I think she has like a pretty good sense of orientation on herself. Like I think space is like a really weird place to orient yourself, and you can easily end up looking at the wrong thing in the wrong direction. And I think Zarza like never loses like her feeling of like where everything is, where his home planet is, where her family are. Like those things like guide her and makes it so she's never like totally lost.
Cool. So yeah, give me this roll with plus Beyond, and we'll see how this goes.
Just before you roll, the help or hinder, is that a before or after situation?
I think in this game it is a before. So if you would like to give a roll, Blyss, for what you're doing here.
Yeah, as Zarza's, suited up and steps out onto the hull, magnetized boots. There's like I hear that like the comms go silent just for a second, and I know that she's like recentering herself to adjust and focus in the zero gravity with on sort of in a weird orientation. There's no sense of up or down, and I can almost hear that she's trying to focus herself. Like, Zarza, remember, you got to just keep your eyes on the level. Remember where your feet are, and I'll guide you right. Don't worry. You just gotta don't look out. You gotta look in. You'll be fine.
Okay, so give us this roll, Blyss.
So that's plus bonds, and I have one bond with Zarza. And it's a weird situation because I know I'm better than Zarza. So what I'm saying is, don't worry. I can pick up the slack for you. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so that is a further +1 to Zarza's roll. So Zarza, you're rolling a +3 total here.
So that's a 10.
Cool. So on a 10 plus, this is well, we're gonna modify this a little bit because knowing the way doesn't make as much sense here on that 7 to 9. If you had gotten the 7 to 9, that you just know the way there, because it's not a long journey, it's just a dangerous one. But on a 10 plus, you find it. You're there if you want to be, which I assume you do. You are. But I think to kind of modify this to make the 10 plus work a little bit more here. Here's the question I'm going to hand to you, Zarza. You're at the engine, and it is definitely damaged pretty badly. Now, you have two options here. You could take the time and do a really good job of fixing it up, but there's that other vessel there, and they don't have that time. So if you take the time here to do a good job, I'm going to make the situation worse for them. If, on the other hand, you do a kind of slapdash job that will hold up until you next make port, but not beyond that, you will be able to get to them in time.
I think I will try to do it fast. I think we are playing like the Abri are like very like they care about other living people, and then like I don't think Zarza is comfortable focusing only on us, despite that Blyss is probably trying to say that to me. I think Zarza is still thinking about that vessel and trying to help them.
Great. And as you're doing that, I want to shift over to what is going on with Maze and Panax, because the last time, Maze, we had left off on you, you had just finished treating the captain, and the captain had said something very mysterious to you about the cargo that you were carrying not being necessarily completely legal.
Yeah, and I think the kind of last thing he had said was, not to let anyone else go near it, or open the box. Maybe was the way he put it. I think Panax and Maze are on the same page with that regard. I don't know when we'll have the chance to tell the rest of the crew, but. Yeah, so I don't know, Stephen, did you think that we had still some work to do to stabilize the captain, or were we kind of putting
the captain? You got a 10+. The captain is stabilized. They are not waking up anytime soon. Like, I think they're in a kind of healing coma state right now. Like they are tranquilized and not able to do anything right now, but they're stabilized.
Yeah, so I think maybe kind of take a deep breath, and maybe we're Panax and I are sharing a joke over Bliss's use of the word kaputskis. But yeah, I think Maze is thinking, check on the rest of the crew, see if anyone else is hurt. So yeah, kind of leave the captain in like this kind of stasis setup that we have him in, and go check the rest of the crew to make sure no one else is in need.
Yeah, and if you're checking in on the rest of the crew, I'm curious here, because Blyss is aware of the fire that is down in the cargo bay. We just haven't really addressed it yet. If Maze is checking in on the crew, do you think that is something that either Blyss will let her know about, or that Maze herself would catch on to fairly quickly?
I mean, it sounds like Blyss has their hands full right now. Mm-hmm. So maybe the first crew member or the second crew member that Maze checks in with is like rushing down to the hold because there's a fire alarm going, and I'll be following to help out with that, because Fireboard is going to kill us all, when it comes down to it.
And I'm wondering, back up, just because I'm also curious to figure out here where everyone's at. Where is Panax going after everything that's happened up in the medical deck?
I think you go to check in the kitchen in the galley.
Cool. Okay.
You gotta stir that pot for tonight, right?
Well, I mean, if the ovens come out of the wall, that's dangerous too.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, we'll check in on Panax in just a second, but I wanted to just shift over to Maze, who is heading down to the to the cargo here. Yeah, and I think that there's definitely, as you are coming down here, are definitely a few crew members who are lightly injured. I think probably another who is actually fighting the fire, but with just not entirely effectively on their own. Who's the one that's fighting the fire, do you suppose, Maze? Because we still haven't defined, we've only named one of our NPC crew members.
Yeah, so yeah, so let's call our firefighter Sky. I don't know. Maybe they're not quite like senior, ordinary crew member or whatever, but someone who keeps their head about them. Maybe has not tried to bite off too much of this fire alone.
And what are their pronouns?
Let's go with she, her.
Cool. And are you fine if we just kind of declare her, let's say, Temurian?
Yeah, why not?
Cool. So yeah, as you come down, Sky turns to you. Turns to you and says, "Oh, Dr. Maze, you're here. Well, our other two," and she kind of gestures at the other two crew members. Mark and Zebron, they're both doing all right. They shouldn't need too much attention until later, but right now we have this fire to deal with.
Yeah, so I think maybe taking care of Mark and Zebron, were their names, is really a question of like pulling 2 oxygen masks out of the kind of firefighting station and making sure they're kind of looking after themselves right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe get another extinguisher or whatever the system is and help out Sky.
Oh, cool. So this definitely sounds like, if we kind of go over to our basic moves, this is definitely I think, acting under pressure here.
Sure, yep.
So this is with plus balance.
Wow, okay. So there's a 12 total on my firefighting roll.
Awesome. And you, on a 10 plus, you do it. And unfortunately, nobody has any 12 plus effects yet, so you can't get anything here. But as like, describe to us how Maze is able to handle dealing with this so well.
I think maybe this is where we see Maze's kind of long life aboard the ship, kind of for the first time in practical terms. I think instead of maybe fighting through the main entrance door, we see her like sneak down and work through a little vent and then come at the fire from the other side. And I mean, she's taking a risk, right? Because it might be trap, or the fire might go out of control. But maybe she's trusting Sky a little bit to come help her. And I think maybe between the two of them hitting the fire from two different angles, they can push it back so that we can get a bit of a foothold in the cargo bay, or maybe keep it away from the important cargo.
Yeah, and I think that is definitely what you manage. That like Sky performs at very very ably as belying kind of her kind of new place on the ship. And before long, you managed to get the fire under control. And I think that as like you finally kind of get the last of the fire out, I think Sky falls back against one of the crates and says, "I thank you, Dr. Mays. It's good that you showed up when you did. I don't know if I was going to be able to manage handling this on my own." And I think that you got the 10 here, so it's definitely something she doesn't notice. But the crate of requisitions she's leaning against, its lid is ajar.
So I think, I will maybe pass her some water to drink and tell her it's Maze, just Maze. No need for the doctor every time you talk to me. And yeah, I think Maze will let the curiosity get the better of them, and peek, maybe with the intention of closing it over, but still, I think she peeks into the cargo box to get a look at what's inside.
Oh yeah, they're guns, I think, is what you find inside. They're not like military weaponry by any means, but these are left definitely like in a box of requisitions that is supposed to just be like basic supplies and necessities. That is not what should be in there. And you can add that as another secret on the captain if you want.
Okay, it's not the same thing?
Sure, you can just detail that out, sure.
Okay.
And are you just kind of doing that, like peeking in while she's there?
Yeah. And then maybe like a guilty look, and kind of close the box and tamp it down a little bit to like, sure there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Oh, and I think Sky looks up and says, "Oh, I didn't check. Is the cargo okay?"
Yeah, it looks okay. I mean, not damaged that I can see, at least.
And she looks around. Maybe I should check some of these other crates in that case.
I think we should leave it to the captain, right?
She sighs. I guess you're right. I'm sorry, Maze. I'm sorry. My parents raised me, to be respectful of my of people senior to me. You definitely get that she was going to say elders before.
Oh, sure. Senior sounds even worse. Well, Sky, they didn't do a half bad job, so maybe you should just do what you're told.
Well, and I think that she gets really like, well, all right. Wait, so am I calling you Dr. Maze or just Maze then?
Just Maze. That's what I asked, right?
Okay, but like what my parents told me or what you told me, that was what was confusing me. Okay.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if your parents come aboard, you can follow their orders, but right now, you're dealing with me.
Right, of course, Mace. And I think we kind of fade out there. And I wanted to shift over to Panax. And so give me a sense here. What is the kitchen of your ship like? How is Panax like first off, like, yeah, I guess how has Panax made the ship's kitchen theirs?
So I think on most modern ships, there's a lot of like kitchen automation, maybe recyclers that output edible content with appropriate nutritional contents, but that's not Panax's style. So he has, I think, ripped out whatever kind of automation there is and replaced it with a more traditional kitchen with a stove, an oven. But we see the stove has like lots of accommodations for potentially low gravity, so things snap in place and get held down, and there's vacuum things around just in case anything flies out of a pan. And just beyond that, I think, is where he set up his little his grow space for plants and various foodstuffs. Little hydroponic system along a wall. And that's probably more what he's worried about.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think as you come into the galley, like there's definitely like there is, as you kind of brought up, a bit of a mess around the place. Not as much as it could have been because things snap into place and you had things mostly kind of bolted or tied down and somehow. I think that how much do I want to go with this? Yeah, I think that since you brought up the grow space, there is definitely a like things are definitely disheveled, definitely thrown about a bit there. I think one plant in particular has kind of actually been like uprooted from whatever it was potted in and has kind of grow and has actually like fallen out of its potting. I'm wondering, is this the kind of particularly the plant that you said you kind of keep as a pet? Sure,
why not?
And I'm wondering, you say you keep it as a pet, like is it at all like is it just like a plant, or is it like a plant that actually well, I guess, is it like a plant like a human would sees plants, or does it actually like responsive, I guess, in a meaningful way?
I think probably to anyone else, it probably seems like just a regular plant, but perhaps it has a series of bioluminescent streaks on its leaves that Panax and Zarza may recognize as how it emotes. But to everyone else, it's just weird, glowy colors.
Mm-hmm. And I think as it has been uprooted, I think so I think that you probably notice that the pot it's uprooted from isn't actually overturned. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any reason for it to have like come out of the pot unless it was like actually like pulling itself out or something like that. What do you do, Panax?
He kind of I think in probably sweet tones of voice, but he'll be chiding it and saying, no, you can't do that. You got to stay in there. You're going to get sucked into a recycler. You're going to gum up the filters and you'll get shredded. Just come on, man. And just gently coaxing it back toward the its spot on the wall and trying to get it back in without damaging the delicate roots.
I think it coaxes. I think its leaves almost curl a little bit under your touch. And as you're doing that, the kind of lights along its undersides, they kind of blink and glisten in a way that you haven't seen it do before, Panax.
What? You scared you? I know it's scary, but you'll be fine. It's fine. I'm here. I've got you. We'll get through this. We've gone through worse, probably. Maybe.
I mean, I know this isn't your strong thing, but I definitely feel like we're pushing here towards a sense what's beyond. Because this is definitely isn't like just a person that you like manipulate. This is a creature and something that might not necessarily be of the entirely mundane variety. So give me a roll with when you wish to sense what's beyond. Roll plus beyond and connect with the supernatural at work in the world.
It's a 5.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Panax, as you lay your hand on this plant, was there anyone you left behind from your childhood because you were adopted? Was there anyone left behind from your family that like you miss more that you particularly miss?
From his birth planet?
Your
or
birth
his
family, yeah.
I think he had a sister that didn't make it off the planet. Or maybe she did, and he just doesn't know. And I think he misses her.
Mm-hmm. And I think you feel that through the plant. And I think it curls up from you a little bit. Almost like it doesn't really want to be touched by you right now as you're repotting it.
Come on, man, don't be like that. Got you. I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm. And I think we'll kind of leave off from that for a moment. Blyss, the engines come back on, I think. Sooner than you would have expected, because an engine repair like that should have taken a while for Zarza to do. But I think perhaps, because I'm not going to ask another roll for it, there's definitely an opportunity here to like dock with this ship now. And you had decided to dock with them before. I'm wondering if Blyss is there to greet these new passengers coming off the ship.
Yes. In the sort of the hubbub of the fire and the engines going out and all of that, it had almost slipped my mind that, oh right, this is a relinquishment clerical vessel. So even though I had initially been like somewhat hesitant, perhaps taken aback by the seeing the ship out in the debris field. Now I am standing at the airlock. Like I probably am like mopping my brow with to clear up some of the sweat from having run around the ship so much, trying to head things up, waiting to greet our visitors.
Yes. And as the airlock opens, I'm wondering, Blyss, how do I want to phrase this? Why was Ecstasis your favorite younger sibling growing up?
So Ecstasis and I, we used to play at Starship Pilots together, as many a young kid does. We used to play at fighter pilots, even though that's not a thing these days. And so I think that Ecstasis left for...
Well, I think Ecstasis we're saying is your younger sibling, so
Yeah.
Blyss probably left early before first,
Well,
right?
I
Okay.
think that they let's say he, Ecstasis.
Sure.
Oh, we had a title for them, right? Didn't we?
I don't think we had a title. We just
Okay.
knew that he was on the relinquishment vessel.
Right. For some reason, I
think maybe it was sibling or brother or something like that.
Yes, that's what it was, sibling.
Yeah.
Well, I think that he left for the priesthood, like to study at the religious college earlier than expected at an exceptionally young age. Yeah.
Cool. So, yes, the airlock opens, and I think that we see Ecstasis, and he is initially like tending to a I'm just remind myself of the names I just took down. An injured Abri woman. When he looks up to you, and his eyes light up, and he's just says agape, "Blyss, is that you?"
And there's like a like a wash of like multiple emotions that crosses over my face. Like first I see the vestments. I'm like, oh right. And then I see this priest with like a pale violet skin, and then I think, oh, a Temurian. Well, of course, in the relinquishment, the half of them are Temurians. And then I'm like, oh, that's familiar.
I think while you're going through all those emotions, Ecstasis like stands up, and I think at this point it's been a while. He is like much taller than you, and he just wraps you up in a big hug. Truly, the way works in mysterious ways. If I had not put myself in danger by coming on this mission, we would not be together now.
And I say the one of those like an exclamation that is common to the relinquishment. Bless the path. Oh, I haven't seen you in. Are you okay? How is your ship is damaged? What happened? Are you okay? Are you safe? Are you hurt? Here, sit down. Let me take you to the med bay. Your companion here. What? Just like a deluge of coming out of my mouth. Welcoming. I'm at once excited, concerned to see my brother here. What are you doing here? Why are you in this part of space? In this sector?
Oh, Blyss, I had volunteered to be a part of this. Well, we've been hoping in the relinquishment to set up an outpost, a monastery of sorts in the Aurelian crown. But, well, I was perhaps relying a bit much on my companion's ability to pilot our ship. That, well, when she became injured, I was not able as I would have liked.
Come, your companion. The med bay is this way. I'll call ahead and have our doctor meet us there. And I'll lead the way to the med bay and calm Maze.
Cool. So yeah, I think then that we move to the medical deck. I'm curious here. I know that Blyss is bringing up someone in need of medical attention here, but I know that there's some tension between Maze and Blyss here. I'm curious, how does Maze generally greet Blyss when Blyss comes to the medical deck?
Is there tension? I don't know that there is.
I think that even though there's not tension, I imagine tension. I put the tension there in my mind, whether or not there is actually any tension.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So yeah, Blyss, you're bringing this, and I realized I did actually come up with a name for her before I introduced this, like when I was writing things up. Do, DOJ. As you're bringing Do up to the medical deck, what do you do? What do you say?
So we come in, or we're on our way, and I'm on the comms. Maze, we have one not casualty. What's the word for
Patient.
patient? We have patient incoming. One patient incoming. Looks like some amount of burns, electrical burns, and I look to my brother and ask what happened.
Well, it happened very fast, but our ship was struck, and well, the fires broke out, and we tried to contain it ourselves, but I'm afraid that Do received, well, some, as you can tell, some rather bad burns.
We'll get her patched up in no time. Yeah.
And thank you. And I think he definitely
burns.
looks very worried down at Do.
Prep the burn unit, the auto duck. I don't know. Get yourself ready.
I'm sure I'll figure out what to do when I see the patient.
Any injuries on our crew?
A couple.
Well, I trust you to tend to them as best you know how, and you know how. I think that I show some amount of deference to Maze, not just as the senior member of the crew, but as an experienced doctor. And I think that's where I imagine the tension lying is there's not actually, like, even if Maze is not, is not like, I'm not trying to like usurp your position. Blyss is like, you know what's going on this ship, and I'm relatively new.
Yeah, I think if I'm not sure who is still in the med bay, but Maze is kind of losing their patience over this strange exchange, like kind of in a just leave me do my job, please, kind of way. So yeah, I think when Blyss brings Dojin, are they conscious or do we?
Yeah, they're conscious. They definitely look at you and say, so this one knows how to treat Abri. They have a kind of distrusting look at you, Maze.
Oh, okay. I missed that Doge was an Abri as well. Okay. So,
Yes.
so yeah, I will kind of square them up on the bench and say, yes, I've a few of your people aboard here as crew. So I've gotten to know your physiology a little bit.
I mean, yeah, she definitely grunts at that a little bit. Wonderful. And she'll submit though.
Yeah, and I suppose because I think May's just maybe is of two minds. Maybe not knowing for sure that this pair of Abri who are on her crew are the same as the rest of their species, and maybe trying to get Doge on side as a patient a little bit. Asking asking about particular nature of what she would consider like good care for burns, and like explaining the equipment that they have aboard, and all that kind of stuff. Given that she is kind of conscious and well enough to be annoyed or suspicious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess because I'm fine just kind of glossing over fictionally, because I know a little bit of like regular burn treatment, but I'm not gonna give a lecture on that here. I just wanted to check in unless Zarza and Panax had like a particular like idea of something interesting here. I feel like I can kind of gloss over the general burn treatment stuff here.
I'm actually looking up like dealing with leaf scorching and tip burn. Maybe if Panax heard that it was an Abri, he would be like, I'll be right there. I'll come help. Come assist. And he might have some tips for how to help deal with damage to the skin-ish areas.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So also, I wonder, is Blyss and their brother hanging around, or are they catching up?
Yeah,
outside?
that's what I was going to ask also.
So I think that as Maze puts dough onto the exam table, and we hear Panax is down on the way. I think that of course, my brother would begin prayers. To
I think actually before he does that, he kind of takes Dough's free hand and kind of like, you can see him whisper something into one of her ears, and she gives a nod and like kind of shoos him away a little bit. And he kind of backs off, looking a little bit guilty and uncertain, and I think then he will go off for prayers with you.
And of course, like I see him bring out his prayer beads, and I sort of absentmindedly almost pull out my necklace of prayer beads and begin to recite the scriptures.
I think he does look and say, "Oh, I think actually no. He'll go through the prayers first." And I'm wondering, like, as a shot, what does it look like, Blyss? Because we don't need to go. We don't like. I realize I'm not expecting you to come up with the entire prayer now, but like, what does it kind of look like if this were like the montage of the prayer?
Well, I think it's first we see Ecstasis beginning his prayer. The prayer begins. We walk the path of relinquishment. We move through the way, and then we see Blyss mumbling the words as well, and then moving over to in front of Ecstasis, and I think that the way you hold the beads like not together, you hold the beads like out in one hand, but have your hands separated, and when there's more than one person praying, you join. You both hold each other's necklaces, and so there can be like multiple people in this chain of necklaces or a chain of beads, like moving the beads simultaneously through their hands. So I think that when it's just the two of us, we hold these beads. We are palming these beads in each other's hands, and with our foreheads, because it's only two of us, our foreheads are like pressed together as we recite these words. And this is I don't know. I don't think that there's anybody else on the ship who joins me in prayer usually, even because the relinquishment is sort of like there are other there are various sects and various offshoots of the relinquishment, the renunciation, all that. There are other people who have some similar faiths, but nobody actually like. We don't hold services.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time I've prayed with someone in a while.
Okay. And do you think that this would be a good moment to sense what's beyond here?
Yeah. It never works for me. So let's see, except for that one time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So since what's beyond 2d6 minus 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I know exactly what happens here. I think when you're praying with your brother, you feel something this time, Blyss. You feel it strong. A pull. And it is, as he mentioned, from the Aurelian crown, which is a we'll get into what that is, but it's a settlement nearby that you are aware of. And I think that that's exactly what, like, there's probably a moment of elation on your part, right, on feeling this. But I think that's probably exactly what makes you realize that what you're feeling now is a lie. That this isn't the pull of the way. This is something luring you in to that place. and it's potentially luring in your brother as well. And I think that I will let fade out on that and let Blyss think about how they deal with that revelation. Because we'll get back to you in a second, Maze, to see how Maze and Panax are handling things. But I did want to go over to Zarza to see what she was getting up to as she came in out of like with the engines repaired.
I think if like as she like takes the spacesuit out, like I saw all these people coming in, and like I think I'm very intrigued about the other Avery in the Avery in the crew. Like I think I would like to know if I sense her. Like maybe I think like in my beyond feeling telepathic network something, like I can sense Panax because he deliberately like got out that feelings. But I would like to know if Dosh did the same, or is she like aware of?
Cool. This definitely sounds like a again, we're hitting on this move a lot this session, because I guess we're all trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. If you could give me a roll with your sense what's beyond, because I think there are things to find out here. Okay, so you got a 9. So on that, you get fragments and mysteries. I think that you sense a couple things. I think the first thing that occurs to you as you feel this other Abri is it hurts. Not physically to you. Oh, well, it feels like a physical sensation to you, I should say, Zarza. You can feel pain. But it is not like you're getting actually injured now. But you can feel that it is as if this woman, Doe, has cut out what connects her to the rest of your species. And I think in particular, the other thing you pick up is that you can feel that she and Panax, you have the sensation of a single plant growing from the same root. And I think you know that they are definitely related. Like, not just in the way that all your species are related, but very directly.
So, Panax and Doge, or me and
Panax and Doge.
Right.
And let's see here. I'm curious, this definitely feels like when the family of another is revealed to you. I want to check in here. We'll also check in with Panax for anything you learn here, if that's cool with you, Panax. Because I'd like to hit on Zarza's Arkin's way here. When the family of another is revealed to you, you roll plus brains.
Right.
So can you give me a roll with that, and we'll see what you find out here.
My brains is 1.
you know that, so on a 7 to 9, you know that family's weakness. I'm wondering, Panax, what weakness had you kept secret from Zarza while she was on the ship? Or perhaps this is something you revealed to her. And this could be like an emotional weakness, it could be an actual like physical weakness, or it could be like a foible that your family is given to.
Maybe the branch of the species that they're on is particularly tied to that shared experience, to the point that it is maybe a detriment to their individuality, and that's why Panax and Doe have cut themselves off out of fear of losing themselves to it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, so that's definitely what you pick up on, Zarza. I'm wondering if you do anything with what does Zarza do with that once you have that sensation? How do you deal with this feeling of pain?
I think Sarsa would like to talk to Dodge, maybe Panax too, like if they are still in the medical part of the ship, like she will go there and like see how are they, and like maybe I think I will address Dodge if she's still in the like being treated like.
Cool. And so, yeah, I think that definitely then we're going to go to Maze and Panax for a moment and then pull you into the scene there, Zarza.
Right.
Because, so Panax, are you actually coming up to the med bay or are you just speaking through the comms?
No, I think he'd want to come help. I don't think he sees other Abri outside of Zarza all that often, so some curiosity there.
So yeah, I think as you come up, you are greeted by Abri woman who is the striking image of your sister as you remember her. And there's like definitely a moment where like this could be your sister, but of course she is far too young to be your sister.
So he'd kind of pause in the doorway there, maybe kind of brush it off and go, don't see too many green ones.
I think she definitely looks at you, Panax, and I think she gets even like grouchier working with Maze. And I think she like looks at Maze and she says, "You didn't tell me you had a green one on the ship."
I mean, I would have thought blue was much rarer, right? With chlorophyll and all, but what do I know? It's important, Doge, is it?
And I think that she looks at Panax and goes, "You're not going to sell me on any of that let's all be one bullshit, are you?"
Oh, gods no. Not my scene.
Fine, he can stay.
I think it's cute that you think you could say who can be in the med bay, but sure, let's do that.
Just think of me as a nurse.
She nods. I'll try not to think about you at all.
Great.
So yeah, I mean, I'd be maybe talking to Doge and also bringing in Panax to the conversation in terms of, you know, the best way to heal burns for their species, and maybe trying to get a sense of, you know, what the kind of core of this I don't know, hostility or animus is over this, you know, become one with us deal that Doge had kind of flung in Panax's face. So I don't know whether that will
Sure.
take some time or
Give me a read another's thoughts while you're working on her. And I don't know if this is something that Panax is interfering with or helping with by being here, but if you feel like you want to go one way or the other, Panax, feel free.
I feel like he'd be curious about why she's so hostile, but not wanting to touch on what he knows about himself either, so probably not helping.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So yeah, give me a roll with plus brain here. Maze.
nope. There's a 5.
Oh. Yeah, I guess. I guess she does. Like, I think how are you probing about this, Maze?
I mean, I guess after a while it'll be, you know, I'll use the phrase that she used, you know, to become one, and wonder what exactly that meant, you know. So not being too circuitous about it, kind of straight out asking, like, is that something I should know as your physician, or is that a cultural thing I should be aware of with Panax, or whatever?
I think. Yeah, she. I think as you're working and trying to like provide some treatment, I think that like before you can even like really get to any of the medical treatment, she just like hops off of the bench. Like she is still clearly injured and is like clearly winces when she like steps onto one leg, but she says, "I don't know what you need my personal history for, Doc, but I'm here with my companion on a mission, and I don't need to answer anything about my personal history or why I hate things like him." And she gestures over at Panax so much.
Whoa.
Okay.
And Zarza, is this when you come in?
Do you think I listen to that one? Or
Yeah,
just
you
arrive
definitely
immediately?
hear that last part. Because she has risen her voice at this point.
I think when I enter, I like try to manage to be the more friendly like I'm possible. Like I would address Dodge and said like, "Hey, cousin, welcome to our ship. Is the dog here treating you fine?"
I think I'm feeling a lot better now. I don't think I need any treatment.
Well, you
And
definitely need that leg wrapped up. that's going to slough off, and it's not going to be pretty.
If you hand me the bandages, I'll do it myself.
Okay, how about we, Panax, I know you're used to hanging out here, but how about you cook something up for a while?
Yeah, I got things I can do.
Okay.
Thanks, Doc.
Doge, I'm sorry for prying. I was just making conversation. If you sit back up, I'll take care of you, and I will not be my nosy little self again while you're aboard.
She grunts and says, "Fine." And she looks over at Zarza. "You're not my cousin, but you can stay, I guess."
I think Zarza will start saying like, "Great, cause great."
And would you like to use your doctor move here, Maze?
Yeah. Let's see about that.
What is Zarza getting up to as Maze is doing this treatment? Is she helping? Is she chatting?
I think like Dosh doesn't want to chat, and that's clear. So I think Zarza will ask Mace if there needs my help with anything, like. But
yeah, I think Maze might just keep you around for like a chat about nothing or about how the outside of the ship looks, or something like that.
Yeah, like I'll debrief you on the situation with the ancients and.
I got a 13 on my surgery roll, by the way.
No, yeah, you do a great job again. Again, you don't have any 12 plus effects, so you're wasting all these great rolls before we earn any advances. But yeah, I think that definitely you do a pretty fast job. Doge is relatively cooperative compared to how she has been, and I think by the time you're done, I think she gives a sigh and says, "I apologize if I've been a bit abrasive. I'm not usually used to interacting with people outside of the relinquishment much."
That's fine. You should see me before my first cup of coffee in the morning.
I think so I'm out of curiosity, just to throw this out there, because I have the question. Caffeine is an herbicide. So I am just curious if that is something that is true for Zarza and Panax, or if you could drink coffee. I'm just curious.
Maybe it's more like not quite alcohol, but closer. It's not great for us, but some people have it recreationally.
Okay, cool.
I was thinking the same.
I mean, technically a poison, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
like I think Zarza is the sort of people who see Panax drinks a coffee and say, "You know that's poison, right?"
Oh yeah.
And she nods. I don't really touch the stuff myself, but can't begrudge you meat folks your vices, I guess.
Well, all I'm saying is, there's been a lot of harsh words said in this med bay by people I have nonetheless patched up. So don't I don't take it too personally.
And she nods and I think looks to you, Zarza. Look, could you let the green guy know I'm sorry? I have a lot of history that I don't really it brings up for me.
Don't worry. We're also been through a stressful situation here. I don't think anyone taking it personally. It's a bad day for everyone, but I think we can manage. And I think like if Mace is like done with her, I would offer my hand to help her incorporate and like accompany outside.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Do you have anywhere particular in mind, Zarza, or
I think she would like to be with the rest of like their crew, and like I think that will be like I will go to where Blyss is, like praying, and I think as we walk together, like I'll talk to her about the ship, about like, oh, that's the like I would signal every part of the ship and like give it a tour guide, and I would say like that's Cora and that's Sky, and like mostly like a friendly presentation of whatever's happening in the ship right now. And like I'm trying to make her feel like she's in a safe space.
cool? And yeah, cool. So I think as you're doing that guide around the ship, I think that definitely I think let's see here. I think that uh Mark, I believe, is one of our named crew members, right? Yes, Mark. He comes up to you, Zarza, and why does of the people on the why of the people on the ship does Mark trust you, Zarza, above everyone else?
I think because I'm new, like I'm like one of the newest people in the crew, and like I feel more approachable. Like I don't have all this previous relationship with everyone else, and like I think I'm fairly happy-go-lucky and don't really seem like I have like big dramas with everyone. No, thing like that.
Yeah, and I think that Mark approaches you and looks and says, "Oh, is this one of the people that came off that vessel?"
Yeah, she's Doc, and Doc, this is Mark, and I'm trying to get her back together with the rest of her crew.
What wonderful. I think that they were just off. Where did Blyss go to pray? Out of curiosity.
I was sort of thinking like since Ecstasis like after he had like whispered into Doja's ear and she had like shooed him away. I think we just stepped not very far away, like out of earshot, I think.
Mhm.
Because I don't think that I heard any of the discussion going on in the med bay.
Mhm.
But nearby.
Yes, I think that they're just in one of the nearby ports over here. If you're looking for him and Blyss, I think he leans in close and kind of for this next bit. So I look, there was when I was just before everything that was going on, I was yeah, and we can revisit that maybe once we're going for our next break. Blyss. We can talk about that. I think that Mark kind of leans into you, as I said, for this next bit. Look, I get curious sometimes, Zarza, and I was just wanting to know before all of this happened what we were, shipping. And look, there's something I want to talk to you about, but look, it needs to be in private somewhere. Maybe later?
Sure. Tell me where I come to find you when I get Doge here with the rest of their crew.
Oh, good. Well, I suppose if you could maybe come around my like, I mean, I don't know, like how is the sleeping arrangement on your ship? I should actually ask. Do you think that this ship is big enough that you have like personal cabins, like even if they're small, or do you think this is more like you have bunks?
Can I say,
Sure.
one of my favorite movies is Master and Commander.
Mhm.
And I am really I'm going to throw this out there. Senior crew has cabins or berths, depending on seniority, but general crew members have like hammocks or
Okay.
the space equivalent, like they strap in like
Probably
bunks
then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I assume that Maze and Blyss probably have their own cabins, right? I'm curious if Panax and Zarza do, or they're in the general bunks with the rest of the crew.
I think Zarza is in the banks.
I think Panax usually is, yeah.
Yeah, I think that. Look, usually Zebron, his work detail is the opposite of mine. If you come around my bunk when I'm off, we can talk more then. But you stick with your friend.
Yeah, of course, she's my friend. And yeah, for sure, I will come back.
But yeah, you so you take Doe. Dow. Doge, however we're pronouncing it. I realize we've used several different pronunciations. It's okay. I think that as you take her over to the berth, I think is this when Blyss is just wrapping up that prayer where you had your experience.
Yeah. We had been reciting the verses, and there's this like flash of vision, not quite vision, but it's vision beyond vision. And I'm taken aback, and then I like realize that we've just finished the prayer, and I'm like, I feel out of breath I just feel out of breath.
I think Ecstasis looks hale and fine. Like, I think he looks energized by all this. And he kind of grabs your hand, Blyss, and says, "Thank you for joining me in that. Our parents were always a little bit worried that you didn't keep up with prayers anymore. I'm sure they'll be happy to know that you are."
And I say, "Oh, yes, you don't need to write home. There's no need."
"Oh, I write home all the time, Blyss. Are are you saying you don't want them to know that I saw you?"
No, and I think that this is where we're interrupted by yeah, so who all is walking up? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Zarza and
A Zebron, did you say?
no, Zarza and Doge. Mark had come up and asked Zarza about seeing him.
Right.
But yeah. So I think that definitely when the two come in, Ecstasis stands to his feet quickly and says, "Oh, Doge, you're fine. You're well." And I think Doge probably says, "Look, yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. You can stop your worrying about me." And I am curious, Blyss, like about like how your like faith deals with like handles like relationships in the clergy. I'm just curious. Like, is this like a like clergy don't have relationships, or are they fine with that?
I think it is fine. It's not frowned upon. It's only frowned upon if that is what you relinquished.
Mm-hmm.
But that, I think that is a common relinquishment, is relinquishing romantic relationships or relinquishing other relationships. But that's not what everybody relinquishes.
Yeah, I think Ecstasis probably kind of a bit shyly kind of comes up and like gives her a kiss on the cheek, and she kind of chuckles and ruffles his hair.
And I'm unsurprised by this because Ecstasis always got along with people. So I'm not surprised that someone fell for him. But what I do, as I shake the mention of my parents, of our parents out of my head, I am reminded of the vision of Aurelian crown, the Aurelian crown. And I walk up to the two, and I say, "Tell me, what is it you were seeking at the Aurelian crown?"
And I think probably Doge kind of gives a look to Ecstasis that like, are these people we can talk to? And Ecstasis gives a nod. "We're traveling there." And then she sighs and says, "We're traveling there to establish a monastery of sorts. There's And I'm just like what would you call what in the relinquishment? What would you call like someone high up in the relinquishment?
Perhaps
Bishop, pontiff.
I'm thinking it's more like along the lines of I keep thinking like turning an adjective into a noun, like forbearance turned into forbearant.
I mean, forbearance works as a title.
Yes. All right. That's the forbearance.
Our forbearance had a vision instructing us to travel there, but there will be a place of great divinity that will lead us upon our way.
And I say that your forbearance bid you go on this mission. Did they did they tell anyone else of this this mission?
We are to do this with some degree of circumspection. This is... They did not want the scene of a large number of relinquishers just wandering in, and, well, many of our relinquishers are not as used to dealing with such danger as travel entails. Are you trying to figure something out here about the situation or person? Yeah. So this definitely sounds like you are making a
well, I'm trying to read their thoughts. I'm trying to figure out what, like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
How forthright they're being to a certain extent, or if there is something they're trying to hide from me.
Sure. Give me a roll with plus brain here.
Not the not the brightest.
Cool. Oh, just trying to understand people. That's a fool's game. I think she notes the prayer beads that are still in your hand, Blyss. And she says, I should think that someone of the faith should appreciate that we sometimes have to do things not because we know the why, but because they are our duty. We all must give up things at times, and sometimes that is our right to make decisions.
And I think that even though I had felt like a sense of conflict in this like pull towards or the Aurelian crown, now that I hear this, there is a sense of conviction that comes across me, and I say to Zarza, who's there, set a course for the Aurelian crown.
Cool.
But make sure that it is not a direct route. Bring us in through the what's a good name for like a nebula? The Aruent Nebula.
Cool. Yeah. And Zarza, do you have anything to say there, or do you think this is a place to fade to black on the scene?
I think it's a good place to fade to black, but I would like to speak to Blyss when we are alone. Like, I want to know more about the situation, but I don't want to speak in front of Dodge and
Yeah, and I think before we take a break, I did want to get I wanted to flash over and ask Maze and Panax. I'm curious, Maze, you were there for all that went down between the two of them. I'm wondering if this is something Maze wants to bring up with Panax, or if Maze is willing to let that lie for now.
I mean, I think I'm probably willing to let it lie, but I'll still ask the question of Panax. What was all that about?
Yeah, and is this maybe down in the galleys now? Because I know Panax left the med bay.
Yeah, I think when Doge leaves with Zarza, I guess I'll be feeling a little bit bad about asking Panax to leave, given that he does spend so much time in medbay with me. So I'll pop up to visit and maybe make sure tonight's stew is survived this whole conflagration.
And I think Panax would be preparing meals going to be larger than usual. So he's getting a head start and probably trying to keep himself busy. So he'd look up and she good?
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatever I can do for her is done. So yeah, she's good.
Good.
I didn't realize that that you were of the cactus variety, right? Kind of prickly.
Neither did I, actually. So that was new and exciting. They're not sticking around for the long term, right?
Who knows? I mean, I guess we gotta maybe tow their ship till they're repaired. So I think you gotta put up with them for a while. You can avoid people aboard for a while, but I don't know. It's your business, I guess, if you want to avoid them or if you think you can avoid them. But What is this melding, becoming one thing? That sounds a bit. Dare I judge with the word freaky?
That's a good word. The Abri have an underlying connection. Let's go with that. And for
Oh, you can go ahead. I'm just curious if you can finish the sentence.
for some of us, it can be stronger, and for some of us, it can be real strong. I don't have to worry about that. I'm unplugged.
Okay, I'll pretend I know what that means.
It's Abri stuff, really. Don't even worry about it. Won't be an issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm hitting the move, because this is like just a straight up conversation between friends. But if you think it, maybe it does hit that move. I don't know what you think, Stephen or Ben.
I mean, I guess it depends on I'm treating the move a little bit widely, like desiring to discover their secrets here is, in my mind, not necessarily to use against them, but because you're nosy maybe, or are a little bit too into getting involved in other people's business.
Yeah.
You want to go for it?
Okay, I will roll. It'll be nice to roll with something other than a +2 for change.
Cool. So that's an 8. So you get to choose 2 off the list. Well, first off, you learn a secret they've been trying to hide on any hit. And you'll get to add that to your list of secrets. But then you'll pick another 2. So why don't you pick 2, and that will help us inform the scene that plays out here.
I think I will pick they don't become suspicious of your motives, because I think I'm being relatively straight up. Although the flip side of that is I will not reveal any secrets of my own. So happy to have rumors spread, or at least I'm not concerned about rumors as yet.
And I think Panax would say, some of us are a little more vulnerable to the shared mind, and we don't quite know what might happen if we give into it. Heard tell, sometimes it can get a little dark, a little scary, subsumed by a dark will kind of thing. But like I said, not an issue.
Okay, cool. I think Maisel kind of thank you for being kind of forthright and open, even though it sounds like kind of a painful thing to be hanging over you, and not an easy choice to cut yourself off from. So yeah, I think Mies appreciates the insight that she's gotten.
Yeah. And I'm curious, though, how does Panax feel about all that's been kind of going on? particularly everything that went on in medical.
I think he's used to being kind of he gets along with almost everyone, and to have someone just come out swinging like that is probably put him a bit on his back foot, and he's gone a long time without having to worry about this concern. But now now there's two of them on a ship, and that makes things a little more immediate.
Do we like leave on you like kind of emotion cooking?
Definitely, yeah.
Cool, great. So I think there are a couple scenes that are occurring to me that I'd like to see before we kind of close for the evening. The first is, I think, Zarza, you had brought up that you wanted to ask Blyss about what was going on with this trip.
Yeah, I imagine as we separate from Dodge, and I'm blanking on the name of your brother.
Stasis.
Stasis. I think as we separate from them, I'm like asking you, like, why are they trusting us with all this information, please?
Abraxas is my brother, and we share a faith, or rather, we would appear to share a faith. I'm concerned that the mission they are on is not all it seems. Hence the oblique approach that I asked you to take.
Do you think, Steven, that this applies for me to roll Arkin's Way, like learning that they are brothers?
That definitely could work. That definitely works. It was something I had in mind. Are you cool with this, Blyss? Cool. Give us another roll. Zarza's finding out dirt on everyone today. Okay, cool. So you rolled great on that. Again, everybody's rolling 12 pluses, and nobody has any advances. So when family of another is revealed to you, on a 10 plus, rather than a secret, you find out that family's secret. Or no, you actually know already, basically. It's not that you find out, it's that you like know what everyone's business is, I guess. So I guess the question is, Blyss, what is the secret of your family that Zarza knows? And I guess I'm going to ask, did Zarza learn that from Blyss, or did she learn it somewhere else? So Blyss, you first. And this could be, if it's not something Blyss would have revealed, it could be something even Blyss doesn't know.
I kind of like the idea that it's something that Blyss is aware of, but perhaps refuses to acknowledge. And the secret is that Bliss's and Ecstasis' family Oh
No, it sounded like you got an idea here.
no, if you have something,
Like you talked about how they all do service in the church, but is
yeah.
it that there is like some secret scandal that like they all do service, but like none of your family have like actually like had any leadership positions for like generations at this point? Or like just of recently, like this recent generation, none of them are have advanced
Oh
far in the.
yeah. That I think that's exactly it. It's that our family historically has been like closely tied to the church, but now, or like you said, over the past few generations has been fallen out of favor, or for some reason has been um not not excommunicated, of course, but put by the wayside for reasons.
Do you think Blyss will tell this to me, or I'll find out another way?
I think you found out another way. Yeah, I perhaps you not intercepted, but was there a communique, a letter or something that you was up? I left up on a screen that you happened to see.
I like that, and maybe I think like Zarza would say like, and is going to this planet your mission now too? Or are we just helping by and then going about our business?
I think going to this going to the Aurelian Crown and seeking the truth has always, or I'll say, seeking the truth has always been our mission. And I'm going to open up a broadcast communication to the whole ship. And I really want to hit one of these religious moves.
This might also just be your core bosun move.
Oh yeah. And when I want to impose my will on the crew, so I'm gonna open up a broadcast communication to the ship, and say we have received, or we have taken on two two members of a ship that has come under some amount of distress. They are on a mission that is they are walking a path that may or may not coincide with ours initially, but now our paths have become one. And I'll pepper this speech with like some allusion to walking the way, walking the path.
Yeah, and I definitely think looking at the two moves, either could work here. It depends on like whether you want to risk them being angry with you, which is kind of the main risk of like your crew. One of the main risks at least, or if they or if they like either become too inspired to doing like they misinterpret, like the risk of spiritual fire is that you can inspire misinterpretations, violence, or that they'll either want like boons or like proof that this is truly like sacred.
I think I want to hit the spiritual fire. I think I'm laying in enough allusion to the relinquishment that this is driven by a spirituality. Because what I'm really trying to drive is that this is the path may have become corrupted, and we are, even though not everyone seems to walk the same path, we really are all walking along the path, and we must root out the corruption.
Yeah, give me a roll with beauty then.
Hopefully it is a very, very inspiring speech.
Cool, that is indeed a 10. It's very inspiring. So you get to pick 3, but one of those things will still happen.
Got it.
Well, I guess many of these are don't. So some of them may happen if you don't pick them.
Right. I think they do. The crew do act immediately. I think they don't use violence to follow the message.
Okay.
It's very clear. And I'm not sure about the other two, so the possibilities are they don't misinterpret your message and they don't demand boons or miracles from you later. The possibility of either of those happening it sounds very, very interesting. Let's leave open the possibility for misinterpretation. They don't demand boons or miracles from me later.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think the ship like is like you hear like definitely like from throughout the halls of the ship a shouting like hurrahs, like yeah, and like people are into this message. Like this is definitely inspiring some fervor among the crew that they are not just now like small time cargo runners, they are on a mission. And I think that as we are kind of fading on that moment of everyone being excited about this, the other thing I kind of wanted to shift to, I'm wondering, Panax, are you working on some kind of meal to receive these passengers today and for the rest of the crew? I mean, particularly now that it seems like there's something to celebrate, ? I'll leave open to like whether Panax feels that there's something to celebrate here.
I think there would be some surreptitious eye rolling, but he's glad everyone's happy. And he's into that part, the celebratory feeling. He can jive with that. But yeah, he would definitely be cooking up a big meal to welcome the new temporary members of our ship.
So yeah, as we kind of cut to that process of like you preparing the meal, why don't you give us a roll with a handsome feast here, and we'll see how it like plays out once you actually put it on the table.
That's a 5.
Oh.
But I have a secret store of choice herbs and exotic spices. I have 3 doses. They add +1 to a handsome feast. Can I use 2 doses at once?
It does not say no. So I guess you can, yeah.
Spice that up to a 7.
Mm-hmm. So you do get 1. So everyone become. Oh, you can go ahead and you can read it yourself, but you don't have to read it all out. Just pick the one you want.
I think I will go with everyone feels obliged to repay me for my hospitality. Build up some goodwill here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, why don't, as you're laying stuff out on the table, why don't you describe what is this great meal that you're laying out for the crew and your passengers?
I think I brought the last of the seal out and did that up in a nice roux. Got some noodles and some vegetarian and vegan dishes. It's just it's a feast. He has clearly been cooking and definitely not having any emotions.
Yeah. And what is the feel of like where does the crew all eat on your ship?
I feel like usually it's the galley, but there may be too many people at this point, so maybe kind of like a buffet situation where people are taking it to different corners.
Yeah, like you have the galley, and I'm wondering when does each of you like, what does each of you of like this great feast that Panax has laid out, what is the dish that is particularly like each of you is like drawn to? And we'll start with you, Maze.
I mean, I think even though I've given Space Seal a hard time in the past, now that I know this is the last, I'm gonna dig in for this kind of crispy affair with some noodles or something. And as well, I think because you spiced it up, I like to think maybe you have used some of the some of your pet plant on this, right? And maybe it just kind of reminds me of Panax, you know, the kind of aroma. It's so strong that that we get that sometimes when we walk into the galley anyway, you know, just because of that plant.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Zarza?
I think I'm also drawn to the seal. Like, I think for me it's more like the emotional thing, but because we hand that seal together with Panax, and I think I will use that to say like, oh, it's truly over. Like, now we need to hunt another big thing.
As long as it's tasty.
And what about Blyss?
So I think that Blyss has been caught up in like a managerial role for most of this today, has been like making sure, like overseeing the engine repairs and like making sure that the damage from the fire has been repaired, and checking in on the captain and the consoles on the bridge. I wonder, does Panax bring Blyss some food?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a special dish that Panax has specifically made for Blyss?
I think he'd have an idea at this point, like what part that Blyss would like the best, and he's saved a plate for them.
Yeah. And I think it is a. I don't think it's actually, it's part of this the seal, because I think it is a the blossom of a plant. I think it is a flower that has opened up. That like, you know, has to be prepared in a particular way for it to like open up and actually, you know, put off its aromas. And I'm not sure if I don't think this is something that's traditional to the Temurians. Maybe it's something that's traditional to pardon, what is the
Adri?
The Adri. But I think when I see Panax bring this, I've been like stressed all day, but then I've been on like heightened like not quite adrenaline, but like I've been charged, a sense of charged, and then when I see Panax bring this, I just sort of like relax, and I'm like elated, and I say thank you. Thank you. This is exactly what I needed.
Anytime, Cap. Not going to leave you to starve up here.
I mean, I guess I want to ask here is, do you want to do anything here? Because it is a once a session thing. Do you say anything? Oh, it should read once a session here for test if your love is true. Did you want to test if your love is true here? Because they are your true love still, right now.
At the moment, yeah.
At the moment. I love
sure.
that. I love that.
Like, do you think is there like some little gesture you make or something else you say or that you're looking for in this moment?
I think Panax would just kind of maybe be looking for evidence that even though all these new people, all these new relinquishers are here, that Blyss is still with us and maybe still has a bit of interest here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, give us this roll with plus beyond then.
A 6.
Oh man. On a miss, your love holds a secret in their heart that will hurt you. Oh, the GM will reveal your love's true heart during this session. So I guess, Blyss, because you are a player character, I don't want to just reveal stuff that without you. Do you have a thought here for what this secret might be? Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
I have a thought.
Tell me.
is it that you have relinquished love as...
Yes. Yes, that is, I've relinquished love, but that's been like a huge struggle for me throughout my entire life. That might even be the reason that I did not go into the priesthood.
Right. Cool. So I won't reveal it just yet. I have a thought here, but so we kind of see that moment of the exchange between the two of you. It seems very awkward. And I think Panax, are you going back to where you're seated as the cook?
Yeah, I think if maybe he'd kind of like sidle up alongside Blyss, but then not getting a reaction, he'd yeah, I'll see you in the galley cab.
Go ahead.
This desire is like a it drives a conflict in me, especially now that I'm like feel like I'm on a back on the way. I am walking the path. So I say thank you for yes, thank you for dinner, Panax. I'll yes I'll see you. I'll see you.
And I think Panax, as you are going away back to your place, I think that it's probably, is it near where Ecstasis is seated? I think it is. And as you take your seat, Ecstasis leans over to you and says, it's always good for me to see that Blyss has friends here on the ship, like yourself. They've always surrendered. They've always struggled with their relinquishment of love, but I'm certain that you and the rest of the crew are able to keep them on the right track. And they give you a warm smile. He gives you a warm smile and pats your hand.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
And try not to let my... I realize that Doge can get a bit... There's a lot of anger to her. I know. It's... You've been such a good host to us, and I don't wish to impinge on her privacy too much, but it has nothing to do with you. There was, as I understand it, there was some struggles with her mother. Her mother was always chasing after a lost brother of hers, and she effectively abandoned Doge when she was young to pursue that. And so any anger she has is just it's at her mother. It's not at you.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll have some baggage.
Of course, and he gives you another pat on the hand. It is wonderful food, though.
Glad you enjoy.
And I'm wondering, what is is Maze seeking to engage with anyone at this meal, or is she like eating by herself? Or
I think probably just chatting with a few of the crew, maybe hanging out with Sky and Zebron and Mark, who she bumped into earlier with
yes,
firefighting. Yeah,
I think it's then that you kind of sit next to Sky and Zebron, and I think it occurs to you, looking about the place, that Mark isn't there.
So yeah, I guess I'll ask. Any particular reason Mark hasn't made it, or do they know?
Zebron and Sky look between each other, and I know that he isn't on shift right now, but I would have assumed that he would be coming along for dinner about this time. Are you certain you didn't, that he maybe just didn't grab something to eat and go, or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll check in on him. Maybe or acting captain, put him to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go and check.
Zarza, you definitely overheard that as well, I think.
I think I will like take my plate and casually go to where we said to meet with Mark. Like, I think if maybe he's waiting for me there, I would like to hear what he has to say.
Yes, and you make your way down to the kind of general sleeping area. And I think you see Mark, and he is lying in his bed. And I think the other thing you see is the blood.
I think I will rush to his side and like try to notice if he's still like breathing or
He's not.
I have some sort of communication like where we were like with what we were speaking before, maybe to alert at least Mace. I don't want to cause a panic, but I think Mace and Blyss sure ought to know.
Are you? Yeah, and you call. What do you say to Maze?
I think Mace, Mark is hurt. I think he's not breathing. He's in the banks, and there's a lot of blood here. I don't want to scare anyone, but I think you and acting Captain Blyss have to know.
I mean, I guess I'll be rushing down to his bunk, right? Maybe grabbing the med kit on the way.
Yeah. And Zarza, are you? It sounds like, are you looking around while you're waiting on Maze? Are you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Give me a roll to read a situation here.
The situation is with brain.
Yeah.
Is this the situation like right now before Maze arrives, or is this in general? So would Maze be able to help, or am I not there right now?
You can help, sure.
Okay.
Because I think, Maze, you do arrive, and Mark is dead. Like, this is not someone that can be that can be like seen to medical care.
Oh, I just saw that you've already rolled, so I'm not sure. And I can't get you to a 12
sorry.
plus.
Yeah,
so.
that's okay. So, Donna, you get 3 questions. What would you like to ask here?
What here is not what it seems.
I think that what is not what it seems is that I think the thing that immediately occurs to you is that there's blood. There's a fair amount of it, but there are no footsteps. There are no apparent traces that someone has gotten blood on them and traced it out of here. But this is highly unlikely.
What should I be on the lookout for?
I think that everyone was at the galley, so I think you should be on the lookout for something that is on this ship, that something that came onto this ship without your being aware of it.
That's intriguing. So... I don't know if any of the other questions will give me anything more, but maybe who or what is my biggest threat?
I think that you definitely feel it. You don't know if this is what caused the Cosmark's death, but you talked about having an ability to feel through the feel through with your kind of senses as an Adri. I think perhaps you sense something on the ship on the relinquishment ship.
I think if Mace already arrived, I would like said to him, I'm sensing that this was caused by something that arrived in the relinquishment ship. Do you see anything that could give us a clue of what happens?
I mean, and we already made kind of the read a situation roll here. So I think Maze, what you can see is that the injuries that he has could definitely not have been done by himself. Like, this is definitely not something self-inflicted. Does Maze do or say anything here, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think Maze is kind of curiosity is the wrong word, but kind of curious in a way that maybe Zarza hasn't seen before. And yeah, wants to, like, I mean, without getting kind of forensics or CSI in it, I want to, like, maybe it's time for an autopsy to find out exactly what did kill Mark, you know. And maybe I get Zarza to help me bring Mark to the med bay to do something do something like that.
Cool. And I think then that we will fade to black there. I think that kind of hits us to the end of our time here. So thanks everyone for coming by. I had a lot of fun today, and I look forward to playing with everyone next week. Thanks for playing, and thanks for watching. Bye, all.